What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the BSBN podcast. My name is Pat, and today I'm here with my co-host, Vic. No Dan this week. What's it called? Sometimes, the cast has to take a break here and there, and Dan's got other prior obligations for this week, but he will be back next week. So I gotta ask you something real quick, because we have to talk about this, because I feel like I've been seeing this a lot online. And I got to ask you, the Bills this week, I think, are a hot topic. Surprisingly, with all the things that have been going on this week, I keep hearing nothing more than just about the Bills, because the Chiefs got eliminated. The Baltimore Ravens are on the brink of being eliminated, and Burrows and Cincinnati are out too. So the only quote unquote elite quarterback in the AFC right now is Josh Allen. Now, I know they're not in first place, right now. They're like, the 6th seed or something like that, and it's only because they're not in first in their division, so they're just a wild card part of their division. But people are saying this is a wide open conference for them to take. What do you think about that? Is this conference like wide open right now? Is this for Josh Allen for the taking? And does this affect his legacy at all if they do not win the Super Bowl this year, with none of the other QBs that typically eliminate the Bills are even in?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people in that AFC East division, me being included, had Buffalo taking this division for locks. It's just seeing Josh Allen to replicate what he's been able to replicate the past seasons, but always struggled in the playoffs with these quarterbacks like Burrow, Mahomes, and Lamar. Always coming up just short. The fact that they're not going to be in the playoffs this year and the Bills are, it's critical for him. Right? Like, this makes it that much more like this should be his year. Like, those obstacles that continuously stop him from getting into that big game and really putting him on the map with that first Super Bowl win aren't there. So it should be his for the taking. And I mean, like, I'm just looking at the playoff teams going in. Like, he is one of the most experienced and well-rounded and well-shaped quarterbacks going into like these playoffs. Like, he's got, he doesn't have the Super Bowl, but Jalen Hurts, of course, in the NFC. But like, he's got everything there for him, and he's the biggest part, like you're saying, is that those giants that he can't slay aren't there in the postseason this year. They've been playing hot. I don't know if the starters are going to play this week, and they're playing the Eagles. Believe this is this ain't the last week, is it? No, it's 2 more weeks.
We have this upcoming week, which is week 17, then we have 18 after that, because extended bye week.
Yeah, I don't know if the starters were playing this week. I would love it if they were, because it would really give me a good gauge on where Buffalo really is sitting to come and see them play, even though they played New England, 2 weeks ago. And then it was the Browns. It'd give me an even better gauge, like, to see them go out and put on a game against the Eagles and really be like, all right, like, if they could go and beat the Eagles, at Philly, and both these teams are playing good football right now, towards the end of the season, playing better football than they were mid-season. But I mean, this has to be his year. Like, I don't know if he gets another opportunity like this again, with Burrow being out, with Mahomes being out, and with Lamar being out. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of structuring going on in the offseason with these power horse teams that are usually always in there, because they have been in there constantly. He has to really. He's got to step up. Like, this has to be the moment. Like, this is your chance right now to go and get that Super Bowl. You guys are on a hot streak going into the postseason. His play has gotten better. He started out hot, then he kind of got a little, like, he cooled down a bit, got a little complacent in his game, starting to pick up now. He's got to roll into this, man, and the fact that they're not there is huge. But it's hard to say, because you're seeing a lot of different underdog kind of teams that we didn't expect to be coming into the playoffs. Like, who's to say, like, he goes up against a Houston Texans team in the playoffs in the first round and don't lose? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that can happen now. What we didn't think was, because they're not at like 14-2. They're not like this. Oh, no matter what team they're going to win. Like, his only obstacle is Joe Burrow or is Lamar Jackson or is I ain't gonna say your name. You know who I'm talking about, though, Mr. May. Um, so he's really got to lock in here, man. Like he cannot take his foot off the gas just because these guys ain't in. Maybe he gets a little lax. Like, yo, all right, look, we're going in hot. Our Giants ain't there no more. Well, one of these little guys can come up and sneak from behind you and get the job done, and then that's it. And then that's real. That might really shatter some confidence in him, man. To be like, man, this was the year. These guys that have always given me challenges aren't there, and I need to step up, and we don't step up. So I think as an organization, as a team, and he really just as a leader has to really come through on his own. He has to play clean football. I definitely think it puts him in a better position to get to the Super Bowl without having these challenges that he always has to try and hurdle over. And it's always comes down to a play. It's not like he gets annihilated or blown
Yeah.
out. Like it always comes down to a play, whether he just beats Lamar just beats him, whether he just beats Mahomes just beats him, or vice versa. And I mean, honestly, it's doable, but it's so hard because the AFC, there are some pretty solid teams in there right now. Like I didn't figure Pittsburgh rolling through. You know what I mean? And they're one of those teams that I feel like could do that with Buffalo. And
Okay.
Houston. Like, you know what I mean? Like these are the kind of every game has to be played flawlessly. He has to go in with the same mentality he always goes with. Like he's playing these Giants. Every team is a giant for him in the playoffs. But and if he doesn't get it done this year without these guys in, I mean, I don't know. Like, how long again do we see him? How long does it take for him to get to that Super Bowl leap, right? If these guys make their way back in next season, like everyone will say, this was the year. This was the year to do it, and you did it or you didn't do it. It could be a lot said because maybe he does it this year and these guys are back in and he gets eliminated again next year, and then it's like, well, a one-hit wonder when the best of the best weren't in playoff contention. Is Josh Allen really that good? You know what I mean? Like it could bite him so many different ways. But I think I honestly I'm pulling for Buffalo, man, as a Jets fan. New York, like he's been in the league a while, man. I mean, I feel for him and Lamar more than anything because these are guys that consistently get to the postseason and they just have not been able to
Yeah.
get it done. You know what
Just
I
not
mean? Like,
unable.
unfortunately, and then it's like, well, Lamar is not there. Mahomes ain't there. You ain't got to worry about Burrow on the NFC side. That ain't there. No, Bengals are AFC as
AFC,
well, right?
AFC is, yeah, they're all
Yeah,
AFC. All of them are
Burrow's
AFC.
not there. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, like, it's like, dude, this is it. Like, they laid it out for you. Like, yeah, you may not be in first place, but it's been laid out. The three power horse quarterbacks in the whole AFC aren't there. With you being number 4. Like, you got to show why you are in that conversation with those three guys, And the fact that they're not there, I'm sure those QBs are expecting him to go through these playoffs, and they're like, damn, if I was there, that might be different, So I think he's going to put on a lot of pressure on himself and set this expectation that they're not there, that it should be a cakewalk or it should be not as challenging, but he just has to go out and they have to continue to play the way they were playing and take it a game at a time and continue building off of what they've been doing these past few weeks, which is just playing some tight, solid football, making big plays in big moments, and just playing clean QB football. And I'm pulling for them, man. If there's any year for Buffalo and Josh to do it, he's got to step up, and this has to be the year where he goes and grabs one, or at least makes it there. If you make it there, you got to grab it.
Yeah, you got to grab it at that point because it's not going to be this easy again. There's no guarantee it'll be this easy again. Or I was about to ask you, is it this easy again? Do you take them as a favorite? Is like right now, if the playoff standings were to be as they are, do you take Buffalo to be like the team that you're going for in the AFC right now? I'll read you off the teams right now as we stand. Right now, at the number 1 seed, we have the Denver Broncos. We have the number 2, which is the Patriots, which, Buffalo is 1 win behind them. Both relatively, I think, easy schedule. New England's got the easier schedule. Jacksonville at number 3. Pittsburgh currently at the number 4. If they win this week, Baltimore is out. Baltimore is officially out. Like that's the only way they can get in right now is through that divisional win. That's it. They can't get in any other way. The Chargers at number 5, also tied with Buffalo, but they actually are ahead of them due to the conference wins tiebreaker, which they're only by 1, so they could still overtake and become 5th seed. Then the Bills are just 6th, and then the Houston Texans are 7th right now, and they clinch if they win this week, or if the Indianapolis Colts lose their next game coming up. So, like, out of these teams here that you've seen throughout this season, do you think that, looking at it, that is Buffalo is it the team? Is that the favorite right now? Do you think they're the strongest team coming into this playoff match?
I mean, that's hard to say. I mean, me personally, yes, I'm gonna take Buffalo just because of now. I got to go off of what I've been seeing, and what I can see with Buffalo is consistently making the playoffs, and they consistently play good football in the playoffs. I haven't seen Houston in the playoffs really, and Pittsburgh in a couple of seasons to where I was like, where I could be like, you know what, they could definitely like. There's some sneaky teams here, man, that could give Buffalo a run for their money. Or just going off of like past seasons, like Buffalo has been making the playoffs consistently and consecutively every year, and losing to these top guys, these top teams,
5 in a row,
a player or two. You know what I mean? 5 in a row and losing a game. Yeah, I get it. You start to get that kind of like not losing the first round, like Tony Romo kind of image.
Yeah,
they
get there, but they're just the same losing to the same teams over and over.
You're still like you can't get over this hurdle in the AFC game. Like you always get stuck there.
Four of them, mind you, to Mahomes, and he's not here.
Yeah, you know what I mean, and that's big. Like he clearly gets to the best guy that gets to the Super Bowl every year, but he just loses to him by a play or two, or 3 points or so. So I gotta go with Buffalo. Like they've shown in the past that we have gone through every team in our division to get to Kansas City, and then we just don't have enough juice or enough in us or enough oomph to get past Kansas City. So I have to take them. I mean, yeah, sure, there's a couple of good teams up here. I didn't think Denver was going to come out and ball out, and New England. Like, there's a bunch of teams up here as well that I didn't think that were going to. I honestly thought Buffalo was going to be the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Like that's how confident I was in them. Like their play has shown it. Like they've been able to hold that stature of dominance, throughout the AFC, other than, with a falling off Kansas City and a slow start to Baltimore, especially. I thought it this year. I was like, this will definitely be the year that they get this number 1 seed. So, I'm going to take them just because of what I've seen in the past. I know what the team can do, man. And the fact that they're on a late season surge, just makes it that much more like they're going to go into the postseason, and they're going to have great momentum. They're going to have the energy. I don't know how they're doing on injuries, but they seem to be winning these games. They're putting up points, and the defense is playing ball. So I'm going to take them. Yeah, I'm definitely going to take them. I'm going to put my trust in Josh Allen to get back to his 6th season in the AFC. Right, because he's won 5 straight already. You said?
I don't like, at least as far as I know. I'm talking about like those other ones, but I don't know. How long has he been here? Because he's made it. He entered the league when 2018. So they lost in 2018 to Jacksonville. They were in the 2019 playoffs, and they lost again in the wild card to Houston. 2020 they made it to the conference championship, lost that game to Kansas City. Then they went the next year, lost the divisional round to Kansas City. Next year, lost the divisional round to Cincinnati. Then Kansas City again in the divisional, and then once more time in the conference championship in Kansas City. So I guess like 6 years in a row. I just don't know how many of them like he was here for, that he was playing in, Josh Allen. So I didn't know if he played in the 15 one against Houston. I actually that, but let me check that. But yeah, so I guess it would be that as well. I know
Josh has been playing. I think he's in like his 7th or 8th season.
Oh yeah, so he was in for that one. He was in for this game, and they lost.
And already right there, you can see the biggest enemy, the biggest hurdle was Kansas City. Yeah, Cincinnati was in there, and then Houston is early on. Kansas City has been his That's been his wall, his kryptonite, his wall that he can't get over. They're not there. They're not there. Mahomes' crazy ass ain't there. You're going to deal with these teams. Now you need to go and show that Mahomes was your only kryptonite. Now you got to show us that you can go and get there without Mahomes, not get in your head and be like, oh, Mahomes ain't there, and put this expectation that you should get there and allow that pressure to bring you down. So, Buffalo, this is their year. This has to be their year. You know, it's a big thing that these quarterbacks and these teams ain't in it, because it's almost like people want to say, all right, we guarantee this should be your year, you know, but it's also that pressure that people are putting on him. He needs to do a good job in handling that and not let it get to him to where he makes mistakes, you know, because that can alter your decision making, you know, like even in a game. Like, damn, we're down right now 17-13, and these guys ain't in here. I need to make a play. Like, just that alone, thinking about your competition that ain't there could alter you to make a decision that loses you the game. So he's just got to go in and play clean football, does what he does what he's been doing these past years, and hope that the team plays good enough football to get them to the AFC Championship, and he'll know that he won't have to go and see a Mahomes, that he won't have to go see a Burrow, that he won't have to go see a Lamar.
You know what? Speaking of, because I was looking at here. So this week their game is against Philadelphia, right? They're versus the Eagles, the defending Stanley Cup. Oh my God, NFL what's called Lombardi Trophy winners. That's another hurdle here. Is no matter how bad we think they might be playing, it's still the Eagles. Now they could still make it to the Super Bowl on the NFC side. If Buffalo makes it to the AFC side for the Super Bowl, it'll be them versus Philly. They have not made the Super Bowl since they lost their 4 straight in the 90s, and all 4 of them were against NFC East teams. Sorry, my bad. So they lost against the Giants, the Redskins at the time, and then the Cowboys twice back to back. There's a possibility they do the funniest thing ever, and they give the of the bingo card here to the NFC East and then lose a 5th time, which I think would be pretty hilarious. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, no, I agree. Right now for me, I would look at them as one of the favorites. But you know what? Speaking of late season surge, if the season ended today, which it doesn't obviously, but if it did end today, their opponent would be another late bloomer in this season, one that I've counted out continuously, and I'm still, again, I don't care what their record is, I still don't know how I feel about them, but they've won 6 in a row. It would be the Jacksonville Jaguars, with Trevor Lawrence playing insane football right now. That offense, since acquiring Jacoby Myers, has been crazy good, you know, and it's been a fun team to watch, albeit. No one expected that division to go how it was. You know, I didn't expect the Colts to be in 3rd right now. I don't know how this happened, but it did. I don't know how Houston is in a playoff spot right now after the ugly start that they had, but they are, or at the moment they are, and they're close to clinching. So for me, I'm like, man, Buffalo should be the favorite here. I want to look at them as the favorite, right? Like they are the team, right? They have the quote unquote best quarterback. Doesn't matter how you look at Bo Nix or Drake May or Stroud, Lawrence. It doesn't matter. Josh Allen has had, you know, tried and true like moments here. He's been in the playoffs. He's been in these situations, these tough. He's got to be the most experienced playoff guy here right now, other than Aaron Rodgers on Pittsburgh. That's it. That's the only other person here right now that I feel like has any other playoff experience that could rival his. So I think Josh Allen for me has to really show out this playoffs. This is a big year for him. This is a big year because if he doesn't win this, he's screwed either way in my eyes, because the fans are never going to let him live it down, right? If he loses this season, terrible. Right now they're in trouble because they just lost the season with no good QBs there, obviously. But if they win, it's going to be, oh, well, it's because none of them were there. You know, it's like you're screwed either way. You win, it's because you were on easy mode. If you lose, it's because you suck. And it's like that's That's a terrible season for them. It's like I almost want Mahomes to be back in here because I feel bad for him
That's why
to
I
have to go
spoke
through
about
this.
that pressure aspect, man. Like,
It,
there's a lot of pressure on him now because of this.
it's like you're screwed either way. You win. You win regardless. You could just screw the haters, whatever. Screw them. It's you do what you got to do. You win. It doesn't matter who's there. It's not about Mahomes. Not about Burrows because they obviously couldn't make it. Their teams either weren't good enough or they were too banged up, whatever the case may be. But they're not there. So to everyone who's gonna to criticize the Bills anyway, don't matter. Those teams should have been there. It's not the Bills' fault that they were not in there. And if it was, then it's because they were better than them. I don't know what else to say.
This is his chance, bro, to cement himself as the number 2 out of those 4 guys. That's what he needs to tell himself. This puts me right under Mahomes.
Right under Mahomes, yeah.
You're not going over Mahomes. You'll be right under, though, because all those 3 quarterbacks are tied right now.
Yeah, with 0. It's crazy to think that Mahomes has had such a chokehold.
That will cement him that will solidify him in that QB talk as these are the 2 top best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that Kansas City has had a chokehold under this whole entire conference with the amount of good teams that we've seen with those 4 juggernauts of teams. Now 3 of them aren't in the playoffs right now. I mean, Baltimore has still a fighting chance, and we'll talk about that later on, actually. But it's just it's just crazy to me. So for me, I like Buffalo as well. I think there's a lot that rides on Josh Allen, and right now the last person in the NFL I want to be is Josh Allen. I'm terrified to be Josh Allen. I can't imagine how he goes and thinks about it. I think the smart way to go about it is we take it a game at a time. I'm not thinking about the legacy. I'm not thinking about the Super Bowl. I'm not thinking about whatever. Right now, I got to look at the Eagles in front of me. Try to maybe even get a first round bye because that's still possible. No one has locked that down yet. I mean, if New England and the Broncos both lose, then they're right in the running if they could win this game and come out with another win. They're up there. Maybe not in tiebreaker, but if they have to win, I think both the next games in order to be the number 1 total anyway, because they're just behind in tiebreaker stuff. But I could be wrong there. But the Patriots have an easy schedule. I think they're all going to keep their starters in, unless they don't care about the first round bye. Then that's whatever. Some people don't like the first round bye. Some people say
Philly already has it, right?
Yeah, they have it, but I'm talking about in the AFC. Like New England is still fighting for it. The Broncos are still fighting for it, and the Bills are still fighting for it. Philly is not in the running for it anymore on the NFC side. Philly doesn't care. Philly at this point doesn't care.
Division, so
they clinched their division.
Technically, they don't have to play anybody. Realistically.
Yeah, they don't have to play anyone until the wild card weekend. That's it. Like they don't really need they don't need to do anything. But like I'm talking about for like Buffalo, New England, and those heavy hitters are still going to probably take their starters unless they don't care about the first round bye. Because one of them is going to get it, and they're all super close. It's like you rest your starters on week 17, and you give them 2 weeks to rest. I mean, there's a chance you don't make, that first seed, right now. Even in week 18, I think we're possibly even going to see if Buffalo ends up winning this game and New England and Denver lose these games out, I could see a potential of them. Oh, also the Chargers, they're 11-4 as well. And Jacksonville. That's crazy. There are 5 teams currently that could still get first round bye in the AFC. That's nuts. And we were talking about how close the NFC is, and now the NFC is kind of like staved off, and the AFC is right back to everyone is close, and we're all fighting to the death. Once again, it's just not the same teams that we're used to. So, I mean, we could still see starters come week 18 if these guys are all fighting for a first round bye. It really depends on if they're willing to take that risk. I mean, but Buffalo has a little bit less to lose. I think in week 18 they versus the Jets. So, no offense, but it's the easier team to go against. And so, New England's actually going to be versus them this week, which you're going to that game, which
I will be there.
Yeah, so that's going to be a fun one. Enjoy the cold, wintry air as you do your tailgating.
As a Jets fan, I will be truly proud if we can get, and I don't wish injury on anybody, but if we can at least sack him 5 times and he finds his way to the sidelines,
and just
Mr. May.
If you do that, that'll be the biggest ball buster of the entire playoffs. If something happens to Drake May, which I hope doesn't either, never wish injury on anyone.
At least they'll keep talking. They'll talk about the Jets a little bit.
They'll talk about it's like I can't believe that'll be the Jets playoff moment is like they screwed the Patriots if Drake May gets out of the game.
Sounds like it's got a perfect ring to it.
It's like if we can't win, you can't either. We're not having this again. But what's called? Yeah. So I mean, for me, I'm hoping that the Bills, kind of do some work here and get into, that spot, because I would like to see them do it, because I like Josh Allen. I think he's a cool dude. He looks like a really cool dude. He acts like a cool dude. I don't know. Every commercial is in. He's funny as shit, and his attitude in general, just to me, is exactly what I would like in exactly what I'd like to see in a quarterback here, a professional quarterback. Which I like him. I like Lamar. I like them both. For me, those are my favorites out of the AFC. Mahomes, I only don't like because against Chiefs, and sorry Chiefs fans, but God damn, I'm so sick of the dynasty. I really am. Like that whole entire thing is just I know.
It's the break.
It is piss poor what happened to him though, and that is unfortunate. But it is what it is. Those things happen. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. But I'm hoping that they are the favorite as well. I'm looking at them to be one of the top ones here and really make a run for it this year. And then I guess speaking of, we have another team here that I wanted to talk about, like going into this next, which is the ones I had just brought up, which is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Currently, their potential matchup at the moment is they are versing Buffalo. They're going to be going up against them here in the playoffs as of right now. And, I'm wondering, does Jacksonville have a fighting chance in the playoffs, do you think, this year? Like, do you look at them as someone that can go far? Like, if they have to go up against someone like the Bills, I know we just talked about them being the favorites, but, like, do you think with the way that the, Jacksonville Jaguars have been playing, do you feel like even if you have Buffalo as the favorite, is this a blowout game? Is this a close game? Do you feel like Trevor Lawrence has really shown over the recent weeks that he's here to stay? He just had a big win over the Broncos. So even if you want to say he can't beat good teams, just beat the top team in the conference. Really can't do much against to warrant against that, and they're 6 in a row. So I mean, you have them and Houston hot on their trails with 7 wins in a row as well. I mean, but they're offensively looking crazy right now. Trevor Lawrence is looking amazing. Their offensive core looks great, even without Travis Hunter on the lineup right now. With Jacoby Myers being there, they don't even have him. That's insane to think about. They're playing better without him. That's nuts to think. Because they were looking kind of trash on offense with him there, and now they have an actual another guy on the other side of Brian Thomas Jr. And I'm not saying it was Travis Hunter's fault. Don't get me wrong, but I just do not think we had the sample size to say that he was impacting the team in my eyes to make them worth looking at coming into the playoffs. But since they got Jacoby Myers, there's something to be said. They got him when I forgot even when that was, but they got him towards the deadline, which was week 9, and we're on week 17, and they're on a 6-game win streak. Is that a coincidence? In my eyes, no. I mean, right now they're killing their teams offensively. They're one of the best offensive teams since the trade deadline. Yeah, they won 35-6, 27-24, 25-3, 36-19 against the Colts, 48-20 against the Jets, 34-20 against the Broncos. They're putting up numbers, whether it be a bad team or a good team, because the Chargers they blew out, and the Chargers can't say are a bad team because right now in the position they're in, they're 11-4. That they were one of the losses, so they lost against them as well, 35-6. So this team is putting up offensive numbers like crazy over the last few weeks, and the disparity between the first couple of games and into this are kind of they show a little bit. They're kind of iffy on all these other games and whatnot, especially against good teams they struggled against. Against the Rams prior to getting him, 35-7 they lost. Seahawks 20-12. They beat the Chiefs, but the Chiefs were kind of at the time. And then they even lost to the Bengals. They got 27 points against them, but really just not many games where they were offensively they weren't crazy good or anything like that. So what do you feel about this team? How does Jacksonville impact you? What's your thoughts about them coming into the postseason?
Jacksonville surprised me, man. I didn't think, especially after a slow kind of a hot start. Was it a hot start? 3-1 or something like that? Or
they went 4-1 before their next loss to the Seahawks.
4-1, and then they kind of balanced out a little bit, and then The hot start threw me off, and then I was like, all right, this is a team that's going to be in the hunt, but they'll slip their way in. And the fact that, like Buffalo, this is the late season surge, but like for all the right reasons. Like Trevor Lawrence and Josh Allen statistically are sitting pretty darn close to each other if you look at them
Yeah.
side by side comparison. Like they elevated their games at the perfect time in the season. Um, and it's paying off. Jacksonville is a team that can put up a lot of points on you. They have a great running back who's 1,000-yard. I think he's got 999 right now.
999 right now. Literally one
Coming
short.
up,
It's crazy.
he's coming up on that 1,000-yard mark. But he's been solid. I don't know how to pronounce his name, Iteni or something like that.
Iteni Jr.
Iteni Jr. He's been solid for them. I think the biggest thing though with this team, bro, is the defense. People fail to see how this defense allows this team to stay in games and to win games the way they do. They force the other quarterback to beat them because they hold teams to under 100 rushing yards. That is huge. You take away the rush game and you got to force a quarterback. You got confidence in your hot quarterback. You guys got a good run game and you're playing hot. It's like getting the hot symbol on 2K and that guy ain't going to miss. That's what Lawrence got right now. It's like he's hot. He's going to get you in position to get points on the board. And unfortunately for other teams, it's been 7 points every time he gets the ball. We're going to go down and get 7. Interception because we got to force you to throw the ball because you can't run the ball. I'm going to put you in a position to get 7. And then I'm getting, you know what I mean? And that's stacking points. That defense plays a crucial part. It really shapes the game. They know how it's going to go. So, like, even if them and Buffalo met up in the playoffs, like, you got a great running back in Cook who's been cooking up this whole season. And this is the guy that can be in the middle of the line of scrimmage with all the guys and then come out and break up the hole. Now, if you shut that down, you force Josh Allen to beat you. So this is what they do to these teams, Like, this did it to the Jets, and they've been doing it. They did it last week against Denver. Denver couldn't run the ball that great. They forced this guy to throw the ball 47 times. All right? I'm sorry, but if you throw the ball 50 times in a game, unless you're Tom Brady, there's a good chance you're going to lose the game or throw a turnover or get sacked because you're holding the ball way too much because your options are limited. That defense limits offenses to passing the ball. And they got enough confidence in the guys their DBs in the back and their pressure at the line to be like, we know what kind of football we want to play. We're going to take away your run game, and we're going to force you to beat us in the pass ball. We got enough pass rush to get to you where you're going to make a couple of mistakes. That's what that defense does. And that's a scary defense because that can force a pro. They're all pros, but that can force a really good quarterback to make a dumb decision, And that's what you're seeing in these games. Either a dumb decision or to make him throw so many times to make him second guess himself. They kind of get in the QB's head because they take away such a big option of an offense, which is the run game, And they've been so consistently good at doing that against teams.
And speaking of, real quick, Buffalo right now is the number 1 rushing team in the league, and they're not a top 5 passing team in the league. Mind you, Jacksonville, in all metrics right now, they are 4th differential-wise when it comes to interceptions and giveaways and whatnot. Takeaways and giveaways. Interceptions, they're number 2 in the league, behind the Bears. They have 19 interceptions in the year so far, and 9 forced fumbles, which I believe is tied for 3rd. Let me just check. They're tied for 4th right now. Or sorry, 4th. They're tied
out
for
to my Jet fans. You see how they got 19 interceptions and 9 fumbles? We don't have 1 interception, and I don't even know if we have a fumble. I don't even know if we have a turnover this year.
Hold on. Yes, you do. You got 4 fumbles.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you recovered any of them, but you got 4 fumbles.
Wow, we keep going. But yeah, I mean, look, that says it right there, man. You know what I mean? Those are something that team that's that defense structure themselves on. Those 9 fumbles come either in open field or at the line of scrimmage when you're running the ball. They shut down the run. Look at all those interceptions that they force. That's with pass rush, and that's because they shut the run game down. That means you're throwing the ball way more than you want to be throwing the ball, man. I don't care what quarterback you are. If you're throwing the ball 45 to 50 times a game, you're going to make a mistake. It's going to happen. It don't matter who you are. Going to make a mistake, and these DBs are playing 19 interceptions, man. They're getting turnovers. 9 fumbles, they're getting turnovers. They're getting the ball back, and it gives their offense a chance to stay hot and to put another 7 on the board. That's why you're seeing so many points come out of them is because of that defense. And defense is what's going to win you these games. You may have
Yeah,
the number
heavy.
1 offense going up against the number 1 defense. I'm always going to
I go
take
with
the
the
number 1
defense.
defense.
So right now, if it came to it, I know, like I said, I know we just talked about. I'm going to put you on a spot real quick. Do you have
Of course, I already
Jacksonville or
know what you're going to
Buffalo?
ask. This is where it all comes down to Josh Allen because this defense forces Josh Allen to tell them that I am number 2 behind Mahomes. You have to beat us, not Cook. You're going to beat us. You're either going to beat yourself or you're going to beat us. That's what the game is against Jacksonville and Buffalo. We're going to take Cook out of the game. And are you going to be the quarterback in your first 3 years that starts to force stuff down the field and try to make plays? Or are you going to be the number 2 quarterback in the league and beat us with your arm, with your legs, and with your wits? I know what I could say is it will slow down Cook tremendously if they played.
As long
Where
as it's not
Josh
dirt
Allen,
fantasy. As long as it's not dirt
yeah,
fantasy, it's all I care about.
it would slow him down tremendously, and it would alter the play calling to be more pass heavy. I mean, man, if I'm Buffalo's offensive coordinator and I know I need to lean on the run, I'm going to start throwing in a lot of RPOs in that play. If I'm playing Jacksonville and I know this is the team that stops the run, I'm going to throw every kind of run formation at them to make them second guess the run and the pass. I want to confuse them. I want some guys to come in on a fake run, quick slant, or an option. You have that option with Allen. You know he's fast enough to get to the sideline, and you know he's strong enough to go up the middle. You know what I mean? Like, they can be a dangerous running team even without Cook. Just the name Cook going up against a defense that shuts down this, you got to really try and catch that defense off its toes, because it will make you pay. It will make you pay with one mistake, man. And sometimes that's all a game is. We've seen it in all his past playoff appearances, Josh Allen. It always comes down to a play, one mistake, one missed opportunity, one catch. That's all it is. It's a game of numbers, man. It comes down to the end, and that's it. So I would get really experimental, going into the postseason with that run game. Like, know that if you got a great running back in Buffalo, but know that you got some great defenses that can shut down the run and that want to force you to make your own decisions and beat yourself. And you got to have some options in case that's not working out.
Yeah, and which for me right now, if I'm looking at this matchup right now, if it were to be Jacksonville versus Buffalo, this is my eyes right now, Buffalo's worst matchup to go against. Like if there was a team, honestly, for me to
They're
take
strongest though
this,
to me.
this would be their worst matchup. I mean, worst is in like this is the team that Buffalo's going to struggle with most. Like that's what I mean. This is definitely the strongest one I think in their eyes because of the defense. But like I'm talking like this, if I'm looking at Buffalo, I'm like this is a nightmare scenario going against them at the moment. Because yes, I have shit on Jacksonville all season long. I mean, can you blame me, guys? Like it's been so middle of the pack and so weird with these wins, and then you guys started stringing along, and I'll give flowers where flowers, where flowers are given. But for me, I'm like James Cook has 1,500 yards in the season right now, 1,532, and then Josh Allen even has 552 rushing yards, but their passing game is not where it should be for I think like a Super Bowl talent kind of like game right now. Josh Allen is 25-10 on the season for touchdown interception ratio, which is all right. It's not bad. 103 rating, which for me, out of all the QBs, I feel like he should be the highest, and he's just not. So I mean, it shows that their passing game to me is weak. Shakir is only got 684 yards receiving as their top receiver, and then right up behind them is two tight ends, not their wide receivers. They disperse the ball lots of different people, but honestly, they don't have the wide receiver core in my eyes, and I felt like they should have gotten something over the deadline to address this issue. Because I feel like they don't have a number one on that team. They just don't right now. In my eyes, I don't think they do. Keon
But look at
Coleman.
Jacksonville. Jacksonville looks exactly like Buffalo on paper. Who's their number one receiver? They got
Yeah.
a running back with 500 less yards. Their QB play's been the same. Their offensive stats are looking the same. You know what I mean? Like,
When I'm looking at them though, bro, like
but these are two of the top teams
it
on a
is.
surge.
But when I'm looking at them though, right? Look, here's the difference between me and that, right? So Parker Washington is by far not your number one receiver on this team, but he is your number one receiver on this team, showing that they have the ability to make your slot guy pay for what you're going to have to do on this team. Brian Thomas Jr. right behind him with only 12 games played, and then Jacoby Myers has only been here for 7 games. He's got 100 yards over Travis Hunter, who also is in the air for 7 games, other than his injury, obviously. And then, it's for me, it's just they don't have a full season with these guys. Now you give Jacoby Myers another 7 games right now with Parker Washington up there. He has 800 yards receiving. Like, this team at the moment, I feel like does have a good receiving. They do have a good receiving core. I think that they still need to be worked on. Brian Thomas Jr., I want to see more of. He's got to do better. I feel like this has been an off season for him. If this was Brian Thomas of last year, which obviously we can't just say, yeah, that'll be the best. Obviously, that's the reason why it'll be good. But if this is Brian Thomas Jr. of last year, of his rookie season, this is a completely different ballgame. Because now you have wide receivers galore with him being there. But right now he's clearly not. He's not the guy right now. So hopefully he just picks that up. It's not about last year. It's about what they got right now.
This year, because look, next year they might not even be sitting in this in this place. That defense might crumble. There might be a big injury. This is what they got right now, and that's what Buffalo's got right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at this though. I'm looking at this,
and they look real similar.
They do, but the difference is that defense, though, because the defense is the big difference here. Because now you have Buffalo's defense, who they're all right. They're not bad in by all means, but like,
how many turnovers does Buffalo's defense have to theirs? Because right now, the only stat that I'm looking at is the number one rush defense against the number one rushing team. Those are the biggest differences to me. Yeah. Now, if the turnovers are lopsided, then you can also factor it in towards Jacksonville's side. But like right now, on statistic paper, like you're looking at two very similar teams, just with one favoring heavy in the run game and one favoring heavy in the run stop.
Turnover wise, there's an 8 difference between them. So Jacksonville has 19 interceptions, 9 fumbles taken away. So they have 28 total. Buffalo has 13 interceptions, 7 fumbles on the season for giving them 20 out of the 15 games that they played so far. So that's the only difference. But it also, from the looks of it, even though they're an 8 difference here, Jacksonville also gives the ball less than Buffalo. The difference is 12-2 as far as differential when it comes to takeaways and giveaways between both teams. So for me, that's like how I'm looking at this right now. Is the defense is a big difference here when it comes to this, because I think takeaway wise, I think Jacksonville, even though they might look similar on paper, I think Jacksonville looks like the more versatile team. They have a 1,000-yard runner, which we'll get next game. He'll get the 1 yard. Hopefully, he doesn't go back or anything. That would be weird, but he's going to hopefully get 1 yard this upcoming game and become a 1,000-yard runner. And then they got the receivers to make this worthwhile as well. They're the only difference between this team right now, looking at as it is very similar, is just that defense. And I think right now Jacksonville's defense outbeats Buffalo's defense. The only difference here now between them is, like you said earlier, this is a Josh Allen game to win. Josh Allen is going to have to overcome everything, and he's going to have to show that he's going to be able to beat a mighty defense right now, because this is the second best defense in the league on turnovers alone, just coming out of the gate. So, I mean, it's really hard for me to say that, Jacksonville's going to win this game clear, but at the same time, because no one has Josh Allen. Josh Allen is his own entity. He's not just an offense. This man is what they call Superman, and that's what he is.
Looking at the quarterbacks, I mean, this is probably Trevor Lawrence's best season right now.
Yeah.
Okay. He has not made a playoff run yet. This will be his first playoff appearance.
No,
that's a lot of pressure.
Second,
has he made the playoff
he beat the Chargers a couple of seasons ago. I think it was 2 seasons ago. They versus the Chargers. Remember, they were losing 28-0 in the first half, and then he came back and beat the Chargers. I think they won 31-28 coming into the last 2 quarters of that game. But they beat the Chargers a couple of seasons back. with Justin Herbert there. I think it was either last season or the season before that. I'd have to look.
Well, he does have a lot to prove, and there's a lot of pressure on him as well, because that game, if that game is to come to light, that game could literally just be like, which quarterback beats themselves to a loss? You know what I mean? Like, we've seen some inconsistency in Trevor Lawrence throughout his career, but we've also seen it in Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen's been in the league a little bit longer than him. But, it's like, which quarterback's really going to take that step, and which number one is going to elevate in that moment? Is that rush offense, is Cook going to still be able to run the ball? Is that number one defense going to hold them, and that turnover defense be able to force turnovers or force 3-and-outs to give Lawrence multiple opportunities to put 7? Does he continue to keep putting 7 on all those drives in the playoffs with all the pressure on? That's what we all want to see. That's where it matters, because there ain't, all right, well, we'll see them again. Like, no, that ain't it. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
You get one shot, one time, one game. That's it, So, I mean, I'm excited that Jacksonville is in it, because I really want to see if Lawrence could make a run. And that would be a hell of a game to watch if their first game winds up being Buffalo-Jacksonville.
It'll be an interesting one. Definitely an interesting game.
I don't even know where I go, where I'd bet. I wouldn't know what I was doing. But, yeah, man. I mean, Jacksonville definitely surprised me this season. I'm happy that Lawrence is kind of it's not his best statistical season in his career, but it's their best win-loss record, I feel like.
In a little bit, yeah.
Time that they're commanding, even though it's still close, like in the standings, because the AFC right now is just crazy. But like, he's got control. Like, the offense looks good, and it's really, I mean, like you're saying, bro, that defense makes that team look so much better, I think, than what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you take away that number one defense in the run and those turnovers, you're looking at a completely different Jacksonville team. Do you have as much confidence in Trevor Lawrence if that defense isn't playing as good as they're playing? But they're playing that good, because we're here right now. They're getting turnovers, and he's capitalizing on those turnovers, and he's turning them into points.
Speaking of QBs that we might, that we think might be being held up by the defense, or if it's their offense, I'm going to take a topic switch real quick here going into it, because we have a team on the NFC side right now that also has a top defense when it comes to turnovers. Actually, not even just a top, but the top defense when it comes to turnovers at the moment in the season, which would be the Chicago Bears. Right now, the QB rating between Trevor Lawrence was 89, I think, 0.3, and Caleb Williams is 89.5. He is currently 23-6 on the season, only been sacked 23 times, and he's got 3,400 yards on the season right now. And their top guys, DeAndre Swift is almost 1,000-yard runner, and then they have, again, same kind of QB room where none of them are hitting 1,000 yards. It's DJ Moore's got 664, Odunze's got 661 in 12 games. There's even though in fantasy I tell you did not feel like it, Odunze. But I think that this is another question I want to ask you here. Is this with their win over the Packers? We look at them as they just beat the Packers. They came back from 11-point deficit. They are in control of their own destiny right now, because the Lions can't catch up to them. And the Packers just lost, Love. They just lost Love. So, I mean, now you have Caleb Williams out here. What's your thoughts on Caleb Williams, the Bears, and how do you look at the Bears coming into the playoffs here? What's your expectations from them this year?
First of all, we both had the Bears possibly being a dark horse.
Yep.
But before we even started this podcast, I remember I was working, and we said Caleb Williams, we were excited to see him this season take a step up. And he's been able to do that tremendously so. With this offense has looked good all year, producing. They just produce. That offense continues to produce. And the defense, it's it's a Jacksonville team to me with a little bit better of an offense. Like a high powered offense. I feel like that offense. Like I don't know if I credit the win to Love going down in the game and them surging and coming back, but that's still a task to do. And then to come out the way he did it. All right, it's the
Yeah,
way
and the
he
amount
did
of
it.
time and
You know what
whatnot,
I'm saying?
everything just
In the amount of time, and then to throw that bomb down the field, like
to DJ Moore. That was
he's
just
got that explosion. That offense has explosion. To be able to make plays like that, that is crucial, bro,
yeah.
going into the playoffs. Because that's what's gonna win games is moments like that. And the level headedness he showed in that 2-minute drill to get down the field and to throw that touchdown with whatever it was, 30 or 20 seconds left on the clock or whatever the hell it was. And that throw was a dime, bro.
Yeah,
When he
perfectly
threw that
placed.
ball, was a dime for him to perfectly catch it and then get out of bro. Like that is growth, bro. In a season, that's growth. Uh, I'm so happy for this team. I really am, man. Like, and man, like I'm saying it like, I've said it in a past podcast, like kind of chipping away at Green Bay. Yeah, I don't know. They feel like the weaker team to me. The injury definitely hurt them with Micah. We don't know how
Yeah.
long Love's going to be on the protocol for. That's a rough injury to take right now
Right
at
at
this
the end of the
point in the
season is
season.
not
Especially getting ready to go into the playoffs.
possibly. They could
Possibly.
still lose
And
it.
then it's like teams are like, damn, bro, if we can get him good, he might. Like no one's really thinking like, oh, let's go hit the quarterback. He gets a concussion, but I feel like when you get a concussion in the league. You're kind of like maybe the guys. I know I would be like, yeah, man, like he's already got a concussion this season. Like even if I just like give him a good shot and he hits the ground the wrong way, he might be susceptible to getting another one a little faster than someone else. Like, it
I mean,
might just take a little extra effort on a play.
Yeah, just ask Sean Payton and the Saints. I mean, they're known for that.
Yeah, right. Go out there and kill the guy.
Just go
Poor
out there
old
and kill
Brett
him.
Favre that season, man. Um, actually wanted to tell you something later. I seen a little clip with I'll tell you later.
Yeah, I got it.
But yeah, man, like the Chicago team, they're dangerous, bro, because that defense clearly, the turnovers, they do a great job of getting that offense the ball. But man, Caleb's play has been so phenomenal. Like his throwing, how much tighter and sharper and cleaner and faster and like in every way possible has evolved in the season. I don't know if they beefed up that offensive line. He ain't running like a chicken from sideline to sideline no more like he
No,
was last year. Like he sits in that pocket and he delivers a dart. You know what I mean? And if he has to roll out of the pocket to make a play down the field, he does. Like it's just man, his IQ to me is really and then everything else. It's like getting an upgrade on a character. And that one upgrade got him like +10 and everything, bro. Like it looked good. That offense is explosive. That's the biggest part of that offense is the explosion plays that they could do. And you've seen it against Green Bay, even though lost a big part of that defense has still been, a defense that can hold teams to a low amount of points, and they don't have to score a lot of points to win games. Green Bay could go out there and score 20 points and win the game 2013, and it's like you knew Green Bay was going to win the whole game. You know what I mean? Even though it was only a 7-point game, it's like, oh, no, Green Bay had that game on lock. Even though it was only 2013, like even that game, it kind of looked like they were holding it down. It's like, all right, this is going to be like a 20-12 kind of game. You know what I mean? And it still wasn't a high scoring game other than they came back. But like, what was it, 13-3 or something at the half? Like,
oh yeah, I forgot.
so
Yeah,
Chicago, the final score was 22-16, and I did take the under for that game, and I did clear the under for that game, 42. Chicago I feel like Chicago is a better chance team. Like when they're playing a team that can put up points, like let's just throw the hypothetical out there. It's Chicago and Buffalo in the Super Bowl. And Josh is going to put up 35 points in the Super Bowl. I got more confidence that Bears will put up 38 points or 35 points than I do Green Bay putting up those 35,
yeah, I think so for
points.
sure, for sure.
You know what I'm
the
saying?
same way.
what I feel. I feel like if it's Green Bay versus Buffalo, you won't see those high points. But like I've seen a few games already where Green Bay plays these games that are always under 20-point games or just at that 20 marker and they slip, you know, because of these explosive plays. So I'm happy where the Bears are, man, and I'm rooting for them like heavily in the NFC. I really am. That team has taken a big jump from last year, especially Caleb. That defense, the turnovers look good. Like the defense in totality isn't spectacular. Like I've seen this team give up a hell of a lot of points, a hell of a lot of yards. But you also see that offense combat that. You know, they can give up 35 points, but then Caleb comes out and puts you up at 38, puts you up at 41. You know, able to give and take. Like they're able to match whatever it is that you're putting at them. You know, and at some point when it's a high scoring game like that, it's just going to come down to a turnover, and that their team does it good at getting turnovers. You know. I don't know what game it was, the Dallas game, I think it was, high scoring. Like, they've had some high-scoring
Oh
games
yeah.
this season, you know, and those games really just come down to a missed drive, which is a turnover, you know, and if they're number one in turnovers in the NFC, that's a lot of missed drives for other teams where they could have won, and that's where you tip your hat off to those DBs and these linebackers that are making those plays.
I was going to look at
Oh,
something
Bears.
real quick because you were speaking about the O line, and I wanted to go see how many times, like, you know, how low the QBs were like sacked this season, you know, for the Bears and everything. So obviously, you know, he got sacked 23 times. So I'm thinking I was trying to like see how low on the list that was, you know, between other teams. And then I went to go look, and you want to hear something crazy, real quick. Has nothing to do with it even. So just real quick, Bo Nix out of any starter, like a full season starter, 15 games, has been sacked 17 times. Do
Seven
you
times?
17 times? Do you want to know
Okay.
who else has been sacked 17 times?
Start. Josh Allen.
Brady Cook in
He
in
just
in
started.
3 games.
Yeah, he got
He's
sacked like 9 games
he's
last week, bro. You didn't see that?
in 3 games. He's been
I
sacked
mean,
17 fucking
yeah,
times.
he got sacked like 8 times last week. He's from like, what the hell kind of team is this, man? I come in, I can't even throw the ball. He's running for his life, poor guy. He's gonna retire.
We
He's
talked
gonna be like,
about
screw this.
the teams not blocking for Shador Sanders. If I'm Brady Cook, I'm looking for retirement after this season. Like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Clearly, my name might be Brady, but I don't think I'm getting the
He's
same
on
respect
pace.
as
He's
Brady.
on pace to definitely pass Knicks.
This is
Couple of
crazy.
games.
I wouldn't even want to start if I'm him this week. It's like going up against the Patriots. I don't want to start right now against the Patriots. My name is Brady. I don't know if they're gonna have a home reception for me, but you know, it's not the same. I just found that funny. But yeah, no, what's it called? I agree though. Caleb Williams has been a treat to watch this year. I think his QBR has not been, it doesn't reflect how good I feel like he's played, because his QBR, he is throwing the ball away when he needs to and whatnot. I feel he's not holding onto the ball, you know, for 5-6 seconds at a time, trying to make second, third, fourth plays in the same drive, which is something that I think Jackson Dart's going to need to learn as well. Trust me, I love that he extends to the second play, but just sometimes a little bit too much and it gets a little out of hand. But yeah, no, I'm looking at these teams right now, and I'm looking at you know, I'm looking at Caleb Williams, and I think he's looked fantastic this season. You know, go Bears. I mean, I like the way they look. My expectations for them this season is a little tricky. You know, because like I said, they were my dark horse. I said from, you know, like we were talking about. Like I said, they were my dark horse right from the jump. I was like, I knew this team was going to come out here and do something. I didn't imagine how good they were going to be. I didn't think they were going to lead the NFC North into the playoffs and you know, take that by storm. I didn't imagine them fighting for a number 1 seed spot come week 17. You know, I didn't think this is all going to be them, but here they are. They're better than right now. They're looking so good, and they're the most exciting team for me to watch right now. I really do hope the Lions get into it, because I would love for the Lions and the Bears both to make it past like the first round or whatever, and then verse coming into like the divisional round playoffs. That would be so sick, you know, for football in general, because I would love to see more division rivalry teams. Because right now the NFC West, obviously, all 3 of them are Just if the playoffs are anything like what we've seen from Seattle and the Rams this past week, it's going to be a fun divisional round playoffs. Whoever makes it to this team to verse whatever team is first. I can't even lock down who I would make it first, but I did say Seattle the other day was my lock. A couple of weeks ago, I said they were my lock when we had asked this question because to me, I don't know. I love the way they're playing. They just look really well, and I'm loving it. But. Yeah, Caleb Williams, the Bears, with their defense, their offense, just everything just clicks. They might not have the crazy good weapons out there. They, had DJ Moore. No disrespect to me. I'm like, DJ Moore is not like my number one guy. Like if I'm looking for a number one guy, if I'm building a franchise, he's not my number one dude. I'm not paying him like super max contract or whatever the case is. He might get like some deals or whatever, but nothing like crazy. And then Odunze, I like Odunze. I've been preaching for Odunze all season because I liked when he was drafted. He looked great. And I think he was the undercover agent that really just got this team to click as much as they have. And I think the underground sleeper, the sleeper of this team that I think everyone has kind of just disrespected, myself included, has been DeAndre Swift. He's almost at 1,000 yards running this season. He's looking great. He's looking good himself, and he's not a young buck. He's like, he's coming in here, and I think. They got a team. They have a legitimately team, and I think they have a shot. It's going to be a wild one. I don't know if they are my I don't know if they're my NFC pick for the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that. I want to kind of go over that over the next 2 weeks when we get into Week 18 when we're discussing that, and then we're also discussing going into playoffs the week after. I want to talk about that then. But I mean, right now, they got it's a tough one to even say about these Bears, man. I don't know where I'd even place them because just there's good teams that I'm looking at right now. You have the Eagles, which I'm never going to count out the Eagles because they just find ways sometimes to win these stupid games that they probably shouldn't win, or they'll win and then they're disappointing themselves because they hold themselves to such a high standard, which is respectful enough. But I don't know. I mean, this team definitely has a ways to go, and I hope they make it far. If they can make it to the Super Bowl, that's exciting for me. I want new teams coming into the Super Bowl. I don't want to see, sorry, Eagles fans, not just because you're in my guys' division, but I want to see new teams come up and be the ultimate risers of the playoffs. I want to see San Fran and the Rams go at it, or the Seahawks make it back again with Sam Darnold, of all people. Sam Darnold making a Super Bowl appearance would not be on my bucket list. Not at all on my bucket list. But it would be crazy to think of. It would be crazy to think of, and I want to see that happen. That would be fun. Caleb Williams, a sophomore, right? This is his second year. So a sophomore. Everyone talks about this sophomore slump, and he's 11-4. Say what you want about him. Talk about his nails. Whatever you want to do. He is 11-4. His team, the Bears, are 11-4. Da Bears, they are 11-4. Their defense is 11-4. Their offense is 11-4. They are looking great. So for me, this would be so cool to see them in the Super Bowl. I would love to see that. And it would have been even funnier, I think, if we had like the Colts versus the Bears and you had 45-year-old Rivers going up against sophomore year Caleb Williams in the Super Bowl. Would be hilarious. That would just be that ultimate comedy, like just the ultimate storyline right there. But yeah, I think the Colts thing is a little bit more less imaginable. I think they have a 12% chance of making it now that they lost that game, is what I saw, or 2%. I remember seeing the number 2 and it was really low. But yeah, it's kind of dangerously low now at this point. They have to hope Houston chokes. But yeah, no, Caleb Williams, man, he's been looking great. I have nothing bad to say about him. I think, his arrogance really got to me before he got into the league, but I'm always a fan of arrogance if you could back that up. If you know how you can back that up, then by all means, talk your shit. Be arrogant. Do whatever you want because you're proving it. I don't care at that point. Being arrogant before, being confident. What's the saying that I say? So being cocky before you prove anything is arrogance. Proving it to me is no longer actually arrogance. That's just you talking shit. And I could admire someone who talks shit. It's confidence. And I don't mind confidence. I like confidence when someone can back that up. Like Jackson Dart he's an arrogant motherfucker. But when he was on his game, when he did have his pieces there, he was looking damn good. Even in his losses, I mean, this last week definitely wasn't that great at all. Don't get me wrong. But this team they're also, I think, looking for that number one spot to try to trade. We're not even going into them right now. That'll be another topic for the offseason that we'll get into. But yeah, no, in my eyes right now, it's Caleb Williams against the world, the Bears against the world, and I would love to see, like that matchup you said, I want to see Josh Allen get to the Super Bowl. I want to see him there, and I also want to see Caleb Williams do something in that playoffs. I would love to see him out there and actually doing something. But I guess, speaking of my dream matchup between Caleb Williams and Phillip Rivers, that might not happen. We do have another old fart in the playoff race right now. And, we have to talk about them because something serious happened this week. I don't condone this. I don't know what happened between the two. I don't know the altercation. I don't have all the facts between it, so I don't know what exactly happened. All I know is that DK Metcalf, while they're still, they're pretty, I think they're okay to lock in, especially I think all they're looking for right now is for the Ravens to lose. And if Lamar Jackson's not in, that's going to happen anyway, but it's still risky to think that DK Metcalf goes ahead and does something where he punches a fan in the face and now gets a 2-game suspension. There's a lot that rides on this right now. Right now, we don't know if this is Aaron Rodgers' last season. We don't know if this is Mike Tomlin's last season, which we're going to get into here in a second. And we also don't know if they even make the playoffs. And if it does, how does this affect them going forward? This is a 2-game suspension that takes you, thankfully, only into the end of week 18. It doesn't affect them in wild card after that. It's just week 17 and 18. They could be garbage weeks if you were already clinched. That's fine. Whatever. You got suspended. Sit down. Think about what you did. Sit in the timeout box. It is what it is. But he punched the fan. Tomlin, I guess the bigger topic that I want to talk about is, Mike Tomlin is someone that has been rumored to be going away from Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh wants him out of there, or did want him out of there when they were kind of fighting for that playoff spot a couple of weeks back with Baltimore, who really stood no chance to begin with. Mike Tomlin was rumored. Everyone was saying, "Oh, he's gonna leave." When Dayball got fired from the Giants, everyone was talking about Tomlin going to the Giants and whatnot. Do you think that changes at all going into the playoffs if Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers make a run? Like, say we're to get to even the conference championships, does this make a difference in his career going into for the Steelers, the longest tenured Steelers coach I think ever, or maybe not? Don't quote me on that. I actually don't know, but I know he's been there for damn long. So does this is affected at all? Do you think he leaves after this? Do you think he gets fired if they don't make a good run? Does he end up leaving? What happens with this team? What is up with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Well, just to touch on the Metcalf thing, that's such a horrible time to make a selfish, stupid decision like that, because you take away Aaron Rodgers' second favorite target, but his number one producing target in the most crucial point in the season. Come down to your last 2 games. There's a lot of what ifs right now. It looks like they're gonna get in there, but there's a lot that can happen in 2 weeks. And how much does that affect their offense? He's their only close guy to 1,000 yards on the season. For his time, for him being there, and I think he's got the most touchdowns for them as well. So we'll see what happens with that. And as far as the Tomlin, man, he's such a great coach. Like, yeah, they haven't had the greatest few years. Even when I was in Florida, I know that they've made a playoff run just a couple of seasons ago. What was it, with Pickett or with Fields, or was it Wilson? I think they were in there, and I think they lost to Green Bay or something. Maybe this was even last year. I'm not really sure, but it's hard to say where his future ends up, because first of all, he just got his 200th win, right? Consistently, big milestone for any coach. So flowers to him, man.
Absolutely.
Just his consistency, man, for he's been in the league a long time, man. I hated his ass, man, when the Steelers had Big Ben, and that's when my Jets were kind of doing all right in the 2010s. But he has carried that team through so many different
Errors.
phases and eras, man. He went through the successes, he's went through kind of the rebuild with them, and now you've seen him be able to still scratch the surface and get these guys in the mindset to make playoff runs, postseason appearances. I think any team would be lucky to have him, just because of his mentality, man. Like he is he wants to win, bro. And he knows what it takes to win. He's had great teams that come up short. He's had great teams that win. He's had bad teams that he's had to piece together or find pieces to keep them winning. You know what I mean? Like he's went through all the phases that a coach could go through, but it's hard to say what happens. Like maybe there's favoritism because he gets them to the postseason, but you got to think like if they don't go far in the postseason, and it's Aaron Rodgers last season, are they looking at a rebuild here with Metcalf being towards the later part of his career? Are they looking to just clean house and go with a whole new look in Pittsburgh? Or are they going to give him the reins and be like, oh, we gotta. I can't see Rodgers playing another season, especially if he doesn't go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's
Which
kind of hard to think, right?
you know what I mean? I just don't see it, man. Like he's got nothing left to prove. If he's chasing a Super Bowl, which I feel like he's not, everyone's chasing the Super Bowl, but like in his heart, I don't think so. I just think he's trying to push it. Be like, how much can I still produce? 23 touchdowns and 7 picks. Is what he's sitting at, just under 3,000 yards. It's kind of looking like a season where he was with the Jets, where he finished with like almost 3,000 yards and almost 30 touchdowns. Like he's not the worst quarterback in the league, but it's like what else are you playing for? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't see him coming out with another year, and and then that is a big question right there because the organization has to see like, are we gonna stay with Tomlin? Who's been our guy, who's been here for the longest, and I think they've had more success than failures. What'd they grab? Did they grab 2 Super Bowls in his era there so far?
Oh
Was
God,
it 2?
it was.
Yeah, Big Ben got 2 Super Bowls, I believe. Yeah,
Was it 2? It might. Yeah, I think it is 2. They
got
2
one against
the Cardinals.
and another one early on, I believe.
Oh man, what? Hold on, I gotta look this up. It's gonna drive me nuts. Was it the Eagles? Am I tripping? Hold on. No, can't be. He wasn't there that long, right? Steelers. Let me look it up real quick.
06
Against the Seahawks.
Seattle.
Yeah. Oh
with,
God.
With Sean Alexander. Yeah. My boy.
Is it
Madden
Hasselbeck?
07,
Madden? Yeah.
I think
Madden,
it was Hasselbeck. Was the quarterback of the Seahawks, I believe. That
might have been.
Yes,
Who the hell was it? Was
he
it
was.
him?
Yes, it was him.
Oh man, I can't believe that. Oh God, yeah,
Yep.
that's just what a
And
crazy.
It was against the Cardinals in 09. So that's success. They had a dynasty going on back then. The Steelers. They were always in the playoffs. They grabbed 2 Super Bowls, and in whatever postseason appearances they've had. They haven't had a quarterback of Big Ben's stature there since Big Ben has been
And they
gone.
still, even with him not being, I was just checking the stats, since Big Ben has lost, they've still been 9 games winning each season with Justin Fields, with Aaron Rodgers, with Trubisky, with Pickett. They've still managed to win 9 games a season pretty much every season since then.
That says a lot about a coach. Okay?
That's
to have winning seasons and to still get into the postseason on some of these winning seasons in the division that they're in too. With Baltimore being that heavy favorite.
Besides this year.
So, there's a lot of inside, reflection I think that the organization needs to do. There's a lot of pros that come with Mike Tomlin, man, and that's why I say any team would be lucky to have him because his record, it speaks for itself. What he's able to do with a team that isn't so strong and still get them to a winning season, still get them to slip into the playoffs, making these midseason adjustments to keep the wins coming, stringing them along, So there's a lot of good that comes with Tomlin. He's a successful head coach in the league, and he's done nothing but great things for Pittsburgh.
Crazy good coach. Crazy good.
And,
can't say nothing wrong about him.
I think the greatest thing that comes with him is consistency. If you can get behind him and give him the time that he needs, you're going to consistently have some winning seasons.
Yeah.
And just be missing a few pieces here and there to really get you to the next level.
You know what's crazy? Gets me thinking about it just now. It's like how I just said, even with Roethlisberger, right? They still end up going like 9-8, 9-7-1, whatever the hell the seasons are, but they still end up doing good, right? When I think about the coaches, no one ever really mentions him up there as like a top whatever coach, top 10 coach or whatever the case is. We have guys like Belichick, because Belichick obviously they got 7 or how many Super Bowls to get with him? 6, 7, 6, 5, 6 with
6.
Brady. So he's got 6 Super Bowls with Brady and whatnot in New England. But once Brady left that team, that was it, right? That was the end of it. Like there was no let's all right, we're gonna go 10-7, whatever. They lost their franchise QB. They lost. Plain and simple. Same thing with Andy Reid. When Andy Reid didn't have Donovan McNabb, once he was gone from the Eagles, when he went over to Kansas City for a very long time, I think until like 2012 when they had Jamal Charles over there running at the running back position, he also was in a rebuild phase where they just weren't hitting the mark and they weren't making the playoffs consistently, or they weren't having winning seasons, period, even in weaker divisions, because the Broncos, until Peyton Manning got there, weren't that crazy. The Raiders have just never been crazy, and then the Chargers are kind of on and off, but like they've never been a team there. So I'm looking at these great coaches of the 2000s and whatnot. No one ever mentions Mike Tomlin as like that guy, but he really is that guy. Like he's the coach, I think, that has been the most consistent. He might not have the most Super Bowls, but he's got 2 Super Bowls in that time of his tenure, and he's also been the most like consistent coach win wise, no matter who he has on his team. Whether he has Roethlisberger or not, they find ways to win in a winning season in a tough division. The AFC North has always been tough with Flacco on the Ravens, and then going into Lamar Jackson and whatnot. That division's just always been tough for them, and now you got a coach here who's doing great. I don't know what what Pittsburgh's thinking. I don't know how the fans feel about him. I just know that I guess I kind of do. Some of what I've heard, at least, but it's always the smallest crowd that's the loudest typically. But I see people that want him gone, or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know how the hell you would want him gone. If you want him gone, please, Tomlin, please go to the Giants, because honestly, that's a head coach's wet dream right there, between Scatabo, Neighbors, and Dart, and then whoever else they pick up in the draft. That's a wet dream right there. Just get a better defense with the defensive. He's also a good defensive coach too. He does know how to get the defense. He could draft good defensive players. We've seen it throughout his entire thing so far. We can get some good defensive guys on that team. So he's a good coach for both offense and defensive styles of playing. Get him over here, Giants. If somehow, some way, get him over here. I don't know what it would take, but it would be great. But yeah, no, that's a guy to look out for.
Real quick too, I was trying to compare him to some. Well, I used the biggest comparison I could find. I went and I looked at Bill Belichick right now.
Yeah.
Right. Bill Belichick's career total wins is 333 wins and 178 losses in 29 seasons. Obviously, that's including postseason. He was 31-13, regular season 302 and 165. That's in 29 season, but he also has the 6 Super Bowls. He holds the record. And then I went and I looked at Tomlin, and he's got 19 seasons played with a total of 200 wins, 124 losses, and 2 ties. So like just looking at that, 8 playoff wins and 11 losses to 192 and 113. It's like his own trajectory, and he's still young. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of promise in him. He's got 10 years still to catch up to where Belichick, as far as we know right now, stopped or ended. There's a lot that he can. Who knows what happened? Right? I'm not saying he's gonna.
Your mic's kind of cutting out. Yeah, it's still a little like kind of choppy. I'll cut this out like when we get there here. Just like where we're at, 118. So make a note. Yep, much better.
Okay. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, there's still 10 years of comparability to Bill Belichick, and he's had a great career so far. So, any team would be lucky to have him, because it shows in his record right there. the consistency of wins, and I'm sure that's not going to change. And that's just been with one franchise and one organization. Um, but yeah, man, any team, however it pans out at Pittsburgh, I wish Tomlin the best. Whether he stays in Pittsburgh or whether uh, he starts a legacy somewhere else. And I'm sure wherever it is that he ends up or wherever he resides to stay, that it will continue the success of more wins than losses.
Speaking of another record at the moment, it looks like Tomlin is tied with Belichick at the moment for consecutive non-losing seasons in a career, which is they're tied at 19. And the Steelers now have apparently, I don't know if it's their same. Oh, I guess before he got there, it's still 3 seasons beforehand. But the Steelers, with their clinching of it, now have 22 consecutive non-losing seasons in a row. 19 of them with Tomlin as the head coach over there at the thing. So that's
and that's
crazy
all 19 seasons that he's been with them.
with them. Yeah, and
Well, 19 years of his head coaching. Yeah,
that's something to say. Like that's pretty damn like
that's
up there.
consistent, man.
That's consistency. I'll take consistency. You might not always make the playoffs, or you might not always make the Super Bowl. Very hard to when you just have a guy like Tom Brady. You might have had Roethlisberger. You might have had some of the guys, but Tom Brady was just up there. It was just a difference. There's no telling how the landscape of the NFL would have looked if Tom Brady was just not there. Period. Because just anyone could have made a run.
What that tells you, though, bro, is that he gives your team a chance to make the playoffs every
season. Yeah, it's like no matter what, that resume speaks for itself. You can go anywhere and land the job right now. I don't know like what coaching position you look at and go, all right, that coach is safe from me firing them to take Tomlin. I mean, except maybe like Andy Reid, because at the moment like their teams are doing great, other than this year, obviously. But there was also a lot of distractions going on with Kansas City between injuries and suspensions and oh god, it's just terrible. But yeah, no. So I like Tomlin. I think he's crazy. It's that guy. I don't know where they're gonna place this season as far as I think with that DK Metcalf suspension for 2 games, it was a dumb thing for him to do. Like I understand that sometimes fans are assholes, and there should be no place for racism in the NFL. If there was, because I think it was a racist remark, is what I heard, was thrown at DK Metcalf. And which, if it was to the fan, you're a moron. You're an absolute idiot. I don't know why you even go bother cheering for these fans, because like it's crazy to think that you're trying to be like a racist towards someone that's playing a sport. And meanwhile, you got guys on your team that you're rooting for, same skin color as DK Metcalf, and you're going to choose to go racist. It's like that's nuts to me, and that's dumb as fuck. I'm sorry to curse there, but I'm actually not, because it's just dumb as shit. But DK Metcalf, I understand it's kind of hard to, and I'm not going to tell another man how to react about a situation, because I could say, just be professional and just not do that. But as a man, it's like sometimes you might say something wrong and it might go left, and it's not always the right thing, no. And in this scenario, definitely not the right thing, unfortunately. Like Vic said, you are 2 games away from the rest of the season, right? And this could not have happened at a worse time, because we don't know what happens in 2 weeks. We don't know randomly if, because you're missing, you lose the next 2 games and suddenly the Ravens win their next 2 games, which I think they actually have to verse. I'm not mistaken, these next 2 weeks. No, do they verse at all? Who do they have to go against? Because like that's another deciding factor here, is because if they have to go 2 games now, if the Ravens win next week, yep, if the Ravens somehow win next week against their matchup, which I don't know who they're versing, and then you verse them in the season closer at week 18. You're now looking, and they're versing the Packers, who are also missing Love potentially. So that's a big deal. So that they can be 2 games in which they can now steal from you. So now if you lose at all to the Browns for whatever reason, because you're not there, and then you lose to the Ravens because you're not there, and you are, like Vic said, your most producing wide receiver, and now you're having to like have him, sit on the sideline, that could be a big and huge deal against you. That's not good. This is not the time to do that, because anything can happen. Will it? Don't know. It's very possible that it doesn't. It's also possible right now that it can. And this is not a position you want to put your team in. I don't care what the situation is. It's like,
bottom line is they're better with them in than they are with them out.
Exactly. And it's hard. It's hard for me to just say, hey, you should have just like, yeah, swing on him. It's fine because your pride. It's like right now, this is not the time for it. It really was not the time for that. So hopefully the Steelers still pull out and win this game.
No better
And
than that, man. That's a
yeah,
rookie mistake right
yeah,
there. Like that, you can't be doing that. Not this
yeah,
point in the season. You want to do that
exactly.
early on and get away with it. You know you can. Like you've been around long enough, bro. Like you put your team in a bad position here to really have to fight, and and
Yeah. It is a crazy position to be in right now. But then really quickly, because you know what, I think we're good on the NFL topics. I really quickly, because we're at a good point here in the podcast. But I wanted to touch on speaking of Pittsburgh, we have an NHL team here, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I wanted to give flowers to Sidney Crosby for
really
overcoming
good.
and beating the number one or becoming the number one point leader in Pittsburgh history behind his mentor, Mario Lemieux, which is incredible. I don't care that he did it in more games. I don't care that it took him whatever the case was. Lemieux was an animal. So to even be in the same conversation with him is crazy. And if you think that Sid the Kid is not up there in those conversations with these guys, then you're nuts. As an NHL fan, first and foremost, you're nuts if you don't think that. To me, Crosby's got to be the highest, like one of the highest IQ players to ever have graced the ice in the NHL. The guy is just insanely talented that we're here in his 19th, 20th season right now, and he's still pulling things off like he's just a rookie coming out. Like he's doing good with goals, assists. He's doing everything he can, and he's still a threat all these years later. He does not look like a shell. This man looks like he could still play another 5 years and not phased like at all, which is nuts to me because we look at Ovechkin, who is just like I think a year or two older, maybe, and it's like or one draft class above him actually, and Ovechkin looks like he's on his way out, kind of. But Crosby looks like he's got like another 5 years in him, where you can just go, yeah, give me that puck, I'll go ahead backhand that thing right in your face, and I'll get it in. He is unbelievable. The talent that this guy has in his body is insane, and just congratulations to him. I might hate you as a Rangers fan, but as an NHL fan, nothing but respect and love to the game and everything that he's brought back into it, because the guy is just nuts. It's crazy. He's crazy
Yeah.
good.
It's I mean, it's been a rough go, obviously, since this trade has commenced. I mean, their last 11, they're looking at 3-8 right now, and they've dropped you know, pretty far down the list. But I mean,
Below the Rangers.
this just was like prodigy, the prospect, man. He just, he came in and he took he took it, man. He learned from him, man, and he grew from it, and what better way to have it than to get us an overtime win, and to get 1,723 points, man,
Yeah.
and to just like continue to refine that legacy, man. Like he will forever be amazing, bro. Like you said, man, it's like he continues to go out there. He could go out there and he could do exactly what Lemieux did for him, Like, so I'm glad they got this kid Kendall. Like, he can be that guy and still produce at this point in his career, on a 1 and 2 line, even as he continues to play on. If he decides to continue playing, wherever his heart takes him in his future. But man, all the flowers to him, man. He's been such an icon for the Penguins, man, and such like a leader, man, and like he's such a soft-spoken man, but then when you went on the ice, man, how like different and competitive he is, man, and how vocal he is, and how his IQ is like I've watched so many like little mic'd up things where they'll have him on the ice, man, and just explaining the game or what he sees, the way he sees it. It's like how fast the game is for him to process all of that and to relay it vocally as all this is still going on. Those little intermissions on a face-off, he'll sit there talking to Gino or talking to this one and like where they need to be and why this happened because of that. Like that, man, that IQ, that all that stuff that he absorbed in the years, and having Lemieux as a mentor, and for him to fulfill the role and to really, it brings it full circle, like he can be that role for any of these young guys on that team, and still produce at a high level, man. So all the glory for him, man, and what he's been able to do for the organization with them, and what he's been able to achieve as an individual player, which his name will never be forgotten when he decides to hang up those skates.
Yeah.
And as for Pittsburgh, man, I just hope that they can, I know it's not easy adjusting when you get some new players in. Everyone's got to kind of get some comfort. I didn't expect them to come out and reign at the top of the division,
Oh, yeah.
obviously, but to continue to compete and to grow. And like I said, it couldn't have come. Final shootout. And he gets his recognition on such a lopsided
Yeah.
thing like that we've been struggling with. We get it in the shootout win, so it's just like it was perfect. It's a perfect way to recognize him in an area of our game that has been so bleak.
Yeah, those
man.
overtime losses are crucial.
Yeah, so it's nice to have finally got one.
Finally.
And at home,
Yeah, which is great for the fans. And and Vic says this as a hardcore Rangers fan. He's even got Henrik Lundqvist tattooed on his arm. It's crazy,
Yeah, okay.
how good
Yeah. Good old Hab. Yeah, okay.
What's it called? Yeah, no, but it's crazy good to see him how he's doing. And Pittsburgh's got a mountain to climb. Like I said, I had no expectations for them to even be as good as they were to start the season off with. So I mean, if they're taking a back seat, that's fine. I mean, like they're not expected to be up there yet. They just don't have all the pieces yet. They're not a playoff team. In my eyes, I'm not even reaching for them to be. But they might be behind the Rangers, but they still got 3 games in hand, just like every other team against the Rangers. So I mean, like, really, who is last? You look at it that way. In 3 more wins, they could easily get up there. So they bounce back off the 7-game loss streak. I think it was crazy to think, as high as they were up. And they're still. If you're a Pittsburgh fan, I mean, you got to look at it as you're still only you're 8 points out of first place right now because this division is just terrible. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, congratulations and flowers to to Sidney Crosby, and that's just like it's just great to it's great to have. I'm gonna quickly, as we wrap up here, I have a lightning question for you, Vic. Here, this is a little bit more of a challenging one. So I know you're not gonna have much time to think about it, but I really want to put you to the test here. The lightning question of the day is: your team is about to win the Super Bowl. You are tied up with just 30 seconds left. You have to stop this team from getting a field goal. What year and what team's defense do you take to win you the game, the Super Bowl? Speaking of the defensive times we were talking about. So what team's defense are you taking? What year? Like, do you have a memorable team that you want to take here in this situation?
Mm-hmm. Man, it's good. And it's got to be fast, right? I mean,
yep. I'll give you 10
coming
seconds.
Off the jump, I mean, man, I would love to go with one of my Jet years defenses, but I'm gonna keep it safe, bro, and go with the 2000 Ravens.
Oh, crazy! All right, I thought you would have probably said like the 85 Bears or something like that. That's another good one.
I was
there.
thinking them.
So I'm gonna go with the Bears on that one.
Every makes a play. Every makes a play, baby.
Yeah, I can't go wrong against them. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on today's podcast. Episode 13 will be out. Well, you guys already see this, but it'll be Saturday right after Christmas. So if you made it this far, hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. Probably should put that at the beginning of the video, like a Merry Christmas kind of thing in the general. But yeah, Merry Christmas. Hope you guys have a great holidays, happy holidays and whatnot. And we'll see you guys again next week. We'll be recording and putting this next podcast. The next podcast will be, I think, after. Because we're recording next Tuesday, so that's, I think,
It'll be after Christmas.
Yeah, so when we record it, it won't be out before so this one will be out before the new year, but the next one won't. So this is our official, I guess, quote unquote, last podcast of the year. So that's gonna be interesting. Or I might just release it early just to kind of make one out. So maybe we'll shoot it on Tuesday and I'll just release it next day. Because I'm be in the hotel room anyway. So we'll just do something like that. And we'll just kind of like do like a little special edition early kind of release before the new year or something. We'll just do some kind of mini episode or some shit. But happy holidays, stay safe, and remember, we'll talk to you guys next week. Enjoy yourselves, and have a good sports weekend. Bye, guys.
Peace.